Another cool crispy one today. Turn the heater on and close the door for a while until the sun comes up and she warms up a little. Maybe. Yeah, it's warm in front of here, kinda. Right, morning guys. So it's a little nippy. Still. So I'm going back to playing with this stuff. So in here, I want to try and get this little bezel out in the lens out of here, so I can finish cleaning these up. So I need to make a little tool, the spring clip around this, and I've got to be able to push it down and turn it at the same time. So I'm going to make a little tool out of that, so I can. It's got. You probably can. So a little tip on that steel ring, and it's the same on the other side. So if I can go on the side of it, where I can pull it around, but I've got to push it down. So that's why I'm going to make a little tool out of this. So I can slip it over, push the thing down, and then turn it and undo that clip, hopefully without breaking anything. So yeah, I'm just going to make it out of this bit of scrap flat bar. Cut a wee slot in there and grind it out, and then just poke it in there and hopefully turn it around. Just a quick little tool, but yeah, I can't. I've tried to push that down with my finger, you can't do it. And I need the leverage to be able to push it down. So I should better use my finger to help push it down and then twist it, because I'm not just pushing down on that little piece, I'm actually pushing down on the top of the bar. So hopefully that'll work. A little bit of fine tuning, and then we should better get these apart properly and clean them up and get them ready for paint as well. So I think that's what I'll concentrate on the next couple of days, unless something else comes up that I need to sort before that. But yeah, just keep pumping along with this stuff, I guess. Get all these little jobs done. So we need about about 20 mil gap. So to get over that little bezel in there, to undo that clip, there used to be a gap about that big in here before I had the little dogs, if you know what I mean. Side to hook on those little tabs that stick up with a little clip ring. So we'll sort that out. We'll cut it in there. It doesn't have to be super pretty as long as it works, you know what I mean. Show if this works or not. Hopefully. Let's see. Oh. I'll try and hopefully I can kind of show you, I don't know. Oh, fuck's sake, now this is going on. I did manage to get the little ring off as the missus was talking to me. So now I'm going to try and see if I can get this out. Hopefully it's not too frozen in there. because this is, I don't know if it's plastic or glass or what it is, so I don't really want to put too much heat in here if I can avoid it, but I want to get it out. Alrighty, I got this to move. So I heated up the housing a couple of times with the heat gun, sprayed a bit of lube in there. I actually just put a couple of bolts in it so I could hold it, and I just got in with the punch and a hammer, and I just gently tapped around the piece and then in against the with the punch in here like this. If you can see that. So in here like this, and I come in and I just tapped in against here really gently, and then around against here, and then on this edge of where that little slit is, I pushed that. It used to stick up there quite a wee bit. So I've now got it out to here, so I should be able to just gently, hopefully, pry it out of here. Now it's moving. I'm hoping. And just gently work its way out, and then we can clean it up. You know, I'll come back to you when I get it out so I can use two hands. Don't fuck shit. Yeah, we got it out, so now I can clean this up, sandblast, whatever, and get to the point where it can have a coat of paint. And yeah, get everything else cleaned up, the little bezel cleaned up, and get that cleaned up. Clean out the little lens and all that sort of stuff, and we'll have to do the same to it. So we'll do that. Right, before I run away, so at the moment I'm just trying to organise a few bits and pieces to, we're going to get a dry shaft made, obviously not a solid one like this. So this is obviously gearbox end. I've had to take the drive flange and the handbrake piece off the gearbox. Fortunately, I didn't have it done up because I knew we were probably going to take this off. And I'm just trying to, one of the other old ends out of one of the other diffs that's been modified, but even that, and I've got the 3 of the fabric donuts things in here. I was actually trying to see if I could find all of them. I'm not sure. I got shit spread everywhere, unfortunately. But yeah, there's 3 of these on each end with these and bits and pieces. So I'm just trying to organise everything, enough bolts and bits and pieces to at least clamp one together so they get an idea of the length of what it needs to be, and we're going to try and organise a modern slip yoke bolt on each end dry shaft. So hopefully if we give them all these bits and the other end, they can either make or build an adapter to fit to this to make the dry shaft. This end I'm not sure what they're going to quite do there, because this is still going to be on there and it's still going to be bolted on. So whether they make an adapter to bolt to that and then hook onto the dry shaft, I'm not quite sure, because it's going to be awkward. So we'll have to sort something out there, and then the diff end won't be quite so difficult. In theory, they should be just remake this piece to suit the dry shaft, as long as you can get a nut in there and it clears when you put the other part on. So yeah, it's kind of, I'm just trying to get enough pieces assembled so they can be taken away, and I'm trying to organise a dry shaft over the next week or two, I guess, see what they can work out. And I'll send them a few schematic pictures, sort of type stuff, so they know what they're dealing with. You know, obviously a few pictures of what this looks like and what the other end of the diff looks like, so they know what they've got to work around, and that'll give them all the links. So yeah, I'm guessing that's probably the easiest way to do it, and we can get that sorted. Here I've got all the light housings in there. Fortunately, actually broke that glass trying to get this one out. And this here is not very good. This clip's broken. It's all rotten away, which holds that glass in. Because I went upstairs and actually and grabbed one of the other pieces off that other car, so I could at least get the glass out of it. Because I knew the side glass was still in it, so I've got that. So that's not so much of a problem. Pain in the ass to break it, but I was starting to give it a fair bit of punishment to try and get it off. The other one came out way easier. This one here was quite a bit more corroded. So, but we'll just have to keep working with it and see if we can make everything work and repair it, and hopefully this will clean up okay. You can see where I punched a hole through the side of it trying to get it out. So yeah, but I'm just trying to assemble that drive shaft so we can get that sorted. We were just talking about that before with the owner. He's talked to one of the fab shops in town that makes drive shafts, so they said if you can get us all the old bits, yeah, they'll better sort something out. So if I can just I'll send them a few pictures and bits and pieces and a few of the diagrams of the book and whatever, and hopefully they should be okay. Because yeah, we're a long way away from getting this thing on the ground with wheels on it and all full weight, so to get a true length, so that'll give us a true length. So I'm just trying to get this apart, because that's the piece where the seal runs in the diff, so they only really need that piece, and then they can mimic that depending on what they do. Yeah, I could probably give them the other one, but I'm hoping I might have to I may have to reset that diff up once we undo that and get that out, but we'll see. Hopefully I can get it out, and I probably won't have to take the whole thing out, but we'll just see. We'll see. We might be right. It won't take too much to dial in if I don't. If I can get it out without having to pull that whole frickin' pinion out, it'd be nice. But anyway, we'll work on that. We have to go a step back to get the drive shaft done at this point. Well, yeah, it's all good. But we got it dialed in, I know. Got it messed up. Good. And yeah, we'll be right. Right, catch you after lunch. Right. I think I got a fucking clutch bearing coming. We got two. Yeah. Again in Australia, very common in America. It's marginally deeper. And it's marginally bigger in overall diameter. I think it's 0.75 of a mil. So I'm gonna have to take just under half a mil off. Cut round it. So it's not quite a mil total. Yeah, it's without getting one made. I think it's their best option, and apparently quite a common bearing in the States. So yeah, I think it's their best option. It's as close as we're going to get without spending stupid money trying to get one. Yeah, Wayne Reynolds was going to try, and apparently there's a place in the States that has in California, where Arco was originally from, and the myth, the man Wayne Reynolds, apparently there's a place there that has a lot of old school, with stuff, new old stock. He was going to have a look there tomorrow, but yeah, I think this is as good as we're going to get, and we can have it here in a week. So coming from Australia, and if it's as if it is fairly common in the US, well, we can always get another one if we happen to need it. But that's why we're going to get two. There's two sitting in Australia, so we're just going to get them both here. So yeah, hopefully. It looks like the identical bearing. We've got pictures of it. It's a D22 bearing is on the box. Whatever that means, it's obviously the part number. But yeah, well, comparing the two photos of the two bearings here, they look identical apart from they're slightly bigger. So the inside ID's spot on. Yeah, it's very slightly taller and very marginally bigger in diameter, so yeah, it's as big as we get, good as we're going to get. Yeah, we'll just, yeah, I know it's a bit of a pain having to take a little bit out of that housing, but for just the freaking little bit out of it, I think we'll be fine. But yeah, God, it's a pain in the ass. It's just, it's been weeks and months waiting for a bearing to be made. Or do you try this one that's, at the end of the day, we can get it here, have a look. If we really feel it's not going to be right, well, no, at the end of the day, we can send it back to the bearing company that's getting it over for us. So if we don't feel it's going to be right, a bit of a pain in the ass to get it back to them. But yeah, if it comes to that, but yeah, I don't know. It's freaking much. You one and a half dozen the other. And I really need to get this thing together so I can get it out of here, kind of, and get it to the upholsterers or something so I can get this other Dodge in here and at least start on it and I can make a mess. I can get that together as possible, much as possible. Hopefully get the fucking wheels here too. That's going to be the next biggest issue, is the bloody wheels. We can throw all the old rims on them. I'm not worried about the rims and tyres. We can throw all the old rims and tyres on it, take it to the upholsterers or whatever, and then I can get this other Dodge in here and get that done before fucking February. It is only a basically cosmetic of the outside of the car. I'm not doing anything else to it. I'm not rebuilding suspension or steering or fucking anything else. It's just get all the old paint off it, clean it up, panel beat it, cut the rust out of it, and paint it and put it back together. Yeah, because I should have been here fucking months ago, but it's just, this clutch bearing has just been a pain in the ass. I don't mind sending that away and then coming back and we're finishing it off, you know, just all the little nicky pieces and get the chrome back and all that sort of bullshit, or nickel. But yeah, it's been fucking just a hassle, a pain in the ass. Should have been done months ago to where, well, kind of to where we are, if you know what I mean. Still had a lot of stuff to do, but yeah, it could have been together and movable and out of the road and lots of other things like that. But anyway, so yeah, fingers fucking crossed this time. Right, morning everybody. It's back to Wednesday night by Outlaw Kustoms again for another day. What are we? Wednesday, I think. So anyway, still playing with these little side lights, cowl lights, whatever you want to call them. So I've started. I gave these a very gentle sandblast with that walnut garnet or whatever. It's walnut and yeah, some sort of garnet or something mix. Just gave these a very, very gentle blast to get the crud and the paint off them. They're actually not too bad. And then I've actually put a small socket here and then just hammered down a little bit of damage that I done to it yesterday trying to get it out. So that's fine. This one here is okay, but it's got that piece broken off it. And I think what I'll do is I'll just slot it around here a little bit further and do the same on here, just so that piece can go around the lock a little bit, just turn around a little bit further. I've got a lot of the other little bits and pieces in those little blue tubs in the sandblasting cabinet at the moment. I'm going to clean up, like the bases for the lights and a few of those bits and pieces in there at the moment to try and clean them up to get them ready. So I can, you know, obviously get this stuff painted and back together and whatever. So I'll clean all that stuff up now. I'm going to try and attempt to clean this up. I started sanding it with 400. I just tried to give it a little bath to see if it would brighten up. It still needs more sanding. I was just trying to gently bring it back. It's pretty thin in places. I think it might be okay, but yeah, we'll just have to try it. I would like to give it a little sandblast in here, but I think because it's so thin and around here, we end up destroying it. So yeah, try and get rid of that oxidation out of the back. So that's what I did with this one. I gave it a little gentle sandblast in the back. But yeah, this one's, yeah, it's not really in the condition to try that. So we'll just keep wet sanding it and see if we can get it to at least get it to a point where it will come up a bit like that. We haven't finished polishing this one yet either, if you know what I mean, but we can get it to kind of look like that, or we know where we might be right. Otherwise we might have to try and make one out of a piece of, I think it's 0.7 mil aluminium, whatever that is in inches, I don't know. Let's have a look here. So 0.7. Is 0.027 of an inch. So yeah, battery must be now inflated again. So that's what it is in inches, so it's pretty thin. Like it wouldn't be hard to get a piece of material and try and make it, just to make the little form to bend it over. A little bit of screwing around and whatever, or to make something to push it into. It could be done. It's just a matter of just doing it. If we have to, we'll do that. I'll clean this other stuff up. Righty. Well, you know, sometimes you're flicking through videos on YouTube, and every now and again you come across something and you go, what the fuck? Well, this is a cool what the fuck moment. So, obviously back in the day, when they were racing, like, you know, early versions of Formula 1, I guess you would call it, back not long after the war, there was a British, I think it was a collaboration of a lot of companies. It was BRN, but yeah, they made, or designed, and then made, like, from 46, they designed this V16 1.5 litre, right? So we're talking less than 100 cc's per cylinder. No, I'm not even talking 100 cubic inches here, right? A V16 supercharged 1.5 litre that spun to 12,000 RPMs and made 600 fucking horsepower at 40 pounds of boost. We're talking like late 40s, early 50s, and by God does this thing scream. Anyway, there's these people in England, this old guy who must have said, oh, you know, man, these things sounded awesome way back in the day, you know, because every time you see them out now, you know, they're just cruising around at 60 miles an hour and they just give the engine a bit of a rev, you know, hardly even anywhere near where they potentially wanted to. So he commissioned these people to build him a brand new car, front to back, all hand built, motor included. They bought everything brand new, and by God, they put it on the dyno. Obviously they checked it out and run it on the dyno and everything like that, and they confirmed, yeah, it doesn't actually say on here what the horsepower it is, but just with reading and finding out a little more about it, like a 1,000 revs, it's only producing like 100 horsepower, but by the time it gets to 12,000, it's 600. And they reckon with modern fuels, and stuff like that, if it would hold together, I reckon it would make an excess of 1,000. You'd really wound it right out. Like, because they said it's capable of doing way more than 12,000 RPMs, but just, obviously, with the older technology and modern metals, yeah, I reckon you could probably get 1,000 horsepower out of this fucking 1.5 litre. But yeah, it was rated at 600 horsepower back then. I'll play a bit of a clip of it on here, or I might scan it on, but yeah, this is freaking thing's nuts. I'll see if I can get it to play in the video at the same time.
BRM was started by Raymond Mays immediately after the war. He made the ERAs, English Racing Automobiles, pre-war and raced in monoposter races internationally. And after the war he wanted to prove British engineering, and he got all the major companies in Great Britain together immediately after the war and got them to manufacture parts and to finance this fabulous car, which...
My father commissioned the car probably about 3 years ago now, because when he was 10 years old, he was holding his dad's hand, Sir Alfred Owen, watching Fangio drive the car and hearing that noise, and that stayed with him ever since. And it's been his dream and ambition to have this car, to build it again. Not necessarily just for himself, so everyone else can hear the noise again. It's not stuck in a museum under a dust sheet. It's actually going to get used and people are going to hear it and enjoy it.
Well, I suppose I'd seen the museum cars being trundled round at 50 miles an hour, blipping their throttles, and I kept saying to people, you should have seen the real thing when it was running properly. And the only way really to get that done was to build a new one. So that's what we've done. It's exactly the same, but 70 years later.
We have all the drawings for the cars, and so we've manufactured everything exactly to drawing. Everything is done with the original threads, the BSF threads, and we've made improvements to the magnetos. We've got improved materials. We've tested this engine on the bed, and we're repeating the figures that they claimed originally, which was always questionable, but we've actually seen it with our own eyes. And we shook the car down at Blighton a week or so ago, so we've just got a few wrinkles to sort out, but basically it's all there, and today will be the first time that it's been seen in public.
This shit that they built. You know, you think of modern technology and how much horsepower they make. You know, imagine what those guys could have built if they had modern technology now, you know. You know, that much horsepower back then out of a 1.5 litre. It's insane. You know, really, if you compared it to some of the engines today, if you scaled it up, you know, and it could still pull the same revs. Imagine the fucking horsepower it'd be pulling. So, like, some of the big horsepower engines really now don't even compete with that horsepower per cc's is incredible. Just per cubic inches is nuts, absolutely nuts. You know, I don't know what that thing would weigh, but it wouldn't be much. Apparently they're a bit of a sketchy thing to drive. I just read through the comments, and I think Sterling Moss, one of the ones that drove it back in the day, and apparently it was very, quite a scary thing to drive, just because it had so much grunt compared with everything else. And obviously just the tyres, you know, wouldn't wouldn't be gripping very well. Yeah, I imagine like on a big long straightaway track, by God, it would be fast. Like apparently 200 miles an hour sort of thing. It's nuts, especially for 1950, 46 to 50-ish. Yeah, incredible, absolutely nuts. Righty, this is a bit of a interesting trial here. I'll show you what I'm trying to do. So this is my attempt at to start forming a new one of these. So like we've half started, you know, we're about the right size. I'm going to see if I can find a socket or something that I can slip over this and then maybe push it back down in the press, because I used to press to make this and whole sorts of stuff. Just whatever I could find. I'll tell you when I made it out of if it works. But yeah, so I'll try and get this apart now, get this wood out of here, because I only really need the one, you know, to fix this bad one, to replace this bad one. Like I can probably keep persevering with it and clean it up if need be, but we're kind of there. You know, like the centre's pretty close. If I can get a socket that's about that size and fits in there perfectly, I might better just sit it back in the press, sit it down on like in the flat steel and just push it down in there and maybe a little bit more, and then I might better just hammer it. Gently. It is only aluminium, or aluminum, so it's soft as shit. We can work with it and see if we can come up with something, because you only ever see put you in the bloody holder. Right, so at the end of the day, get rid of this piece of wood. You only ever see that bit in there, like that, if you know what I mean. You can't see around this edge, but as long as I can get it tidy, and as long as we can get this inner piece tidy, which I should be able to do, you know, hopefully might be just clean that up with something. We'll see what it looks like, you know. We're just a matter of persevering, I guess. I've went hunting for one of those little wave washers. I've seen them before somewhere. And you think I can think where to find one? I tried around 2 or 3 places around here, locally, some of the little mechanics workshops and stuff like that. Nobody had anything. I tried a couple of engineering shops and stuff like that, and none of them had anything. So yeah, like I probably better get something in town, but I was just trying to see if I could pick something up here. Yeah. But I'll find something to replace that wave washer with. I don't even care if it's bigger in diameter, you know, if it's wide. I'll just grind it down, file it down until it fits in there, as long as the inside isn't overly excessive, if you know what I mean. It won't matter if it's a little bit big in the centre, like if it's a little bit smaller hole, as long as it's not excessive. It won't matter, because it's only holding that in there. And I can soon fold the outside down and give it a couple of little tits to hold on to this, if you know what I mean. So I can soon do that. But yeah, we'll try and see if we can make a new frickin' thing here. I think we're close. Like the inside diameter is just about perfect. Even the outside diameter is not far off. It's just a matter of getting it nice, if you know what I mean. So I'll carry on. I'll get this out of here and we'll come back to you in a minute or two. Right, so I got that bit out. And I've got this 34mm, a 30, I don't know, it's hard to tell. 36 is just too big. So maybe a 35 or the Imperial standard equivalent might have been slightly better, but we'll work with what we've got. So that's close. It is really close. So I'm going to jam that in there, and I will squish it over and jam that down on the press, down to something flat. That'll give us a nice flat edge, nice flat hard edge. And then we'll work with the rest and see if we can make something work. It's just a matter of just playing with it and making it work. I should better hammer that edge. That's the other thing too, like I better hammer that edge on that one that's got down there really nice and flat. We'll come along with that and we'll smooth her out until it's as pretty as it's fucking going to get. So we'll do that and we'll come back to you. I'll come back to you when I've pressed it and we'll show you where we're at. Right, so this is where we're at now. So I've pushed that into there. Got a really nice flat edge, and it should be pretty close to the same diameter as what that is. You know, once we've dialed it up, we'll know. So I'll put that back over there like that, and we'll try and hammer it out and see where we end up. And then I'm going to try and work out what I need to do to try and get a really nice clean inside edge. Like that bit of exhaust tubing is very close to the inside diameter. And then maybe push that down through the inside. Not quite sure yet how I'm going to finish this off, but you know, one step at a time. We'll get one piece right, and then we'll come back with the next step, if you know what I mean. We'll get it, make her, and it's just a matter of trimming it up and trying to make it pretty. We'll come back to it a bit further. I'm trying to show you what I'm going to try and do here. See if this works, I don't know. You know, it's only a matter of just trial and error. So this piece of timber on here, it's just so this can't distort against the edge. And we'll just be a matter of just gently working it in. And hopefully we'll get a half decent result. We'll just have to keep turning it and playing with it. Fucking not a million miles away, are we? Not a million miles away. It's pretty close. It might be very slightly smaller on diameter, but there's not much, you know, it's just a matter of working with what you had. Like I said, if this was probably a 35 instead of a 34, it might have been just a little bit bigger. I don't have much choice. So it's 36. It's, you know, it's quite a bit bigger. Maybe the 34 might have been just a sneak. Just a sneak bigger. It's just a matter of what you got to make it out of, eh? It's too big. That's what I made it out of, pot lid. But hey, it's just a matter of what you got on hand. It's cheap. It was free. But yeah, we'll persevere. Try that. So next plan to try and get a reasonable inside edge, if we can. Slip over that down there and press that. I might have to take more out of this centre yet, I'd say. But yeah, then we can press this down on that and we'll try and get a nice crisp edge. Because this is basically almost perfect for in there, if you know what I mean. It's a 1 inch. So yeah, and this is like basically it's not quite a dead slip over, but it's very, very close, if you know what I mean. So that's kind of what we're trying to do. Use the two to push it down and try and get a really nice finish in there. I'll take a bit more meat out of here yet. Very awkward though. Right, really need to get more out of here. I'll probably go again. And again, possibly push this back in here to try and to re-flatten it back out. But it's coming there, right? We're getting there, you know. It might end up being a little bit flat, but at the end of the day, you can't look at both sides at the same time. Not easily anyway. But I think we're going to get it close enough that hopefully we should be able to get it to do what we want to do. And if worst comes to worst, you know, I can make another one and just try and get a bit more meat around here where it's a bit short. It was just, you know, I can do it again. Once I made one, like I know how to make the second one, if you know what I mean. We might better make it faster, a few little shortcuts and whatever. But yeah, we're getting there. We are getting there. Right, so we're here. I'm probably going to try and make a better one, but I'm trying to make it with all the little pieces, elements in it. So the next trick is to try and work out how the heck I'm going to punch those 3 little holes in it that this here clips into. So I got my hole in here goes into that hole there. You can see that. And that lines up with that, which I have to get those little holes slot for those little pieces there. I'm just not quite sure how I'm going to do that. I don't really, if I had like a little, I do have a Dremel, but I don't have a Dremel. I don't have any tips for it, or bits for it. One of those with one of those little tiny cutters would probably be the trick, because you just better come in and just gently cut a little slot, and then you might better get a little, almost, yeah, like you probably get a little fine file of some description, even like a little, sometimes you get like nail cutters with those little fine files. You better just come along there and just square the edge up a little bit, sort of type thing. But yeah, I will try and hopefully make a better one so it's a bit tidy around here, but this is not too bad. It's not too bad. It's not quite as nice as I would like, but I can perfect that with the next one. maybe, you know, see if I can get it better, so I can get a better one. But yeah, at least I can make them. It's amazing what you can make with some hole saws and some sockets and a bit of exhaust tubing and a press. Or you could just do it with a hammer, probably. You know, just hammer the socket in there. Put a hammer to the socket in there. You know, decent, a decent hammer just banged on the anvil in the back of the vise. You know, you could have just held that over there like that with the socket in it. You know, once I got to that point, I probably could have done that. And just even with claw hammering, I could have done that to try and get it nice and square. You know what I mean? Yeah, square finished and then hammer it over on the edge and whatever. But, you know, get there. It's a shame that wasn't just a little bit more rounded. Would have been nice. Morning, guys. So welcome back again. So I'm in the midst of trying to make another one of these, if I can make it just so I can get a bit more material around the edge, basically. I started making another one, and I try to leave a bit more material around there, but probably too much. And it's all split in the centre. I'm trying to straighten it out. Yeah, obviously I left quite a bit more material around it. I sort of cut it squarish, and then I sort of left it half squarish, and it's too much. Plus it's cold. Like, it's not that cold I need the heater on, but I think that's not helping either. Just the materials, because it's cold, it's a bit more, not so malleable, I guess. So it's probably not helping. I had another go too, and I tried to use the socket to push down into the hole, but it actually cut it instead. This one, so that was a bit of a fail. So yeah, and again I probably had too much material around it, because I used the hole saw the first time to cut like that hole, and you can see like the big hunks I cut out, and I trimmed it down a wee bit afterwards. So you were that sort of size hole saw the first time, which I thought, you know, would have been plenty, but it probably is enough, but it's not quite enough, if you know what I mean. By the time it sort of gathers up, and if you're not dead square centre, because we're not using like a die form or anything like that, it's just, you know, just this bit of a hillbilly frickin' thing. Yeah, it's just not quite enough to just, you know, get it right. So I'm going to try one more time, because that's about all I got left of this pot lid, and see if I can get a better one. And just try and, I've got an old cutting disc here, which is a bit bigger than that, so I'm going to use that as a guide to cut round, and obviously cut the centre out. And I might crank the heater up for a couple of minutes and just warm the bit of metal up before I try and squish it into that initial shape, and hopefully we'll get a half reasonable result. Righty, so I'm taking some gentler steps to make this. I obviously made it a bit bigger. I only pushed it partway in for a start off, and then I pushed it partway through that wooden form with this. Now I'm going to try and cut the bulk of the excess off. Now that I'm sort of quite about the right depth in, I'm going to cut the worst of this stuff off, and then I think I'll try and hammer it over this, the exit, what's left, and get it flat, and then we'll work on the centre, and we'll get that shaped up. Righty, I think I found a method that works for cutting these little holes. So I need to obviously get the measurement dead right, but you know, it's about as close as I'm going to get. So basically I've got a little fucking super fine 1mm drill bit in there, and I drilled 3 little tiny holes, and then I just gently with my hand and just push the screwdriver into it, and then just open it up. It's about all I can do. I've tried a couple of different methods. Like I used a 2mm drill bit that was too big, and I tried even using just like the grinder just to nick it, but it won't, it's too big a mark. So yeah, the 1mm drill bit, and yeah, just 2 or 3 little holes in there and just push this through. This is about as good as it's going to get. So now I need to mark the positions, because this is the first one I made, so I just used it as a test piece to work out these. So I've got a socket in there, a piece of timber in there, which just gives me something to push against. So I'll put that in this one, and we'll get all the positions marked out, and we'll go from there. Right guys, so I've got all the holes in this now. Is it perfect? Not really, but will you tell? Probably not. That's the one I'm, the one I'm replacing because it's all worn out and whatever. But yeah, like this clip here. So I've got the lens, it's in there. The hole in that lines up with the hole in that. That's where the screw goes through into the body. So take that longer tongue opposite the hole in there first. Clip down a little bit. Try and show you. Clip the little bits in there. Takes a little bit of finagling. Get in there. It's just as fiddly getting that in the original one, just about. Get in there. So yeah, works perfect, and then it fits into the body. So the long tab goes down here at the bottom, and obviously the hole lines up with the screw boss at the top, and fits in there something like that. So if I get the other one, which I've already got half assembled here, and poke it in the other one, fiddly little buggers and things, but I hold these two up. Who the hell's going to tell that from one side of the car to the other? I don't think anybody. So yeah, wrap with that. A little bit of fine tune, a little bit of clean up. Obviously polish them up and whatever. So yeah, I could quite easily make another one of those if I need to. A little bit of mucking around. I'd have to make another wooden piece to push it into, because I've just almost, with making 3 or 4 to try and get a one where I had enough material and didn't split it and whatever. Yeah, I kind of destroyed it a little bit, I guess. I probably could use it again, but it just, yeah, by the time I've used it 4 or 5 times, it's only been plywood that's been around a while. Like, it wasn't a fresh piece, it was just an old piece that was floating around. So yeah, that's pretty mongrel now and whatever, but did the job, worked perfectly. So yeah, I could quite easily make another one. So I'm guessing that there, just a quick glance, is I think it's about the same thickness material. This might be 0.9, the stuff that's slightly thicker, 0.8, 0.9, whereas I think the original's 0.7, I think. Yeah, it's 0.7. This is just the next step up in thickness. When I made a lot of roofing products, we had 0.7, 0.9, and then 1.2, and then 1.6, and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, this is just the next step up. Nobody will know the difference. So yeah, made a little bit of clean up, bit of a polish up, and I don't think nobody will know. So yeah, it worked out. Fiddly little thing to make, but I like little challenges like that. Sometimes you think, shit, how am I going to make that? But It makes it amazing what you can make with a hole saw and a few sockets and a bit of exhaust tubing and just a bit of patience and time. I did break the little 1mm drill bit, freaking drilling the last couple of little holes. Unfortunately, I probably should have the drill a little bit faster, and probably just had the drill just slightly further in, because you know the fine little tiny little drill bit. I broke the end off it doing the last couple of holes. So. But yeah, got it done. So that's all that matters. We can get them cleaned up and ready for paint. The only thing I've got to do is find one of those little wave washers that I can modify to make for the smaller piece for this, but I've still got to find one more of them. I have seen them somewhere for sale, but you think I can remember where? You know, packets of them a bit like those little clear boxes with all different sizes. I'll find some somewhere. It's just a matter of hunting one down and then getting one that's a wee bit oversized and just shaving it down. So I've got the little tits. You know, I'll just use the Rolex and just gently just take a little bit of meat off it. You know, you just got to be patient, take time. You know, if it takes you frickin' 20 minutes to make it, well, it takes you 20 minutes to make it. Just what it is, you know. Take your time. Just shave it off. That's all you can do. When it gets to real fine and stuff like that, you know, it's like a jeweler, you know. I'll spend frickin', you know, days making a frickin' ring. Well, it's the same sort of thing. Sometimes that's what it takes if you've got to make little one-off pieces that you just can't go by, you know. So, you know, we'll carry on. Stuff cleaned up. I started cleaning these up too. I was trying to get the whatever the crap and frickin' whatever shit is off it. So I've just been using this 3000 3M pad with a little bit of soapy water on it just to try and sand and polish the shit off it, because it's nice and fine, like it's not going to scratch the glass or anything like that, you know. We can just run it over the little buff. Just to try and get the crap out of them, so at least they look decent when they're back in there. So that's cool. So they're coming up alright. I think I've got a couple of these coming, like they're too big. They're the wave spring washers, but I'm going to grind it down, hopefully, and get it to fit in there. So how these work is, the little notch in there, where it goes down in there, it actually, I didn't realise for a start off, but it's got these little tags in here, or dogs in there. So when it goes in, it actually holds, presses on them, and then holds the glass in there, on those. So they would sit on those little tabs with that, and that holds the glass in there, can't come out once that's pushed in. So yeah, that's how those work. So I'm basically ready there. All we need is the another one of those to be made, or for me to make another one of them once I get the little wave washer, which is quite a bit fatter than this. So I'm not too worried about the inside diameter. It's the outside diameter that I can just gives me a little bit of meat to make it like that on the outside. And then just a matter of painting this stuff and putting new cable in. All these bases are all good. I've just given them a bit of a coat with some edge, and we'll give the rest of these a bit of a clean up, but yeah, I know that I've pretty sure even the light bulbs work that was in amongst all this stuff. Yeah, I think they both work. I'd have to test them both, but that'll give me something to test them with anyway. But yeah, so all that stuff's pretty much ready to go, except for a coat of frickin', you know, give this a bit of a coat of high build, give it a light sand and paint and black with all the other bits and pieces when we get there. So I've been trying to clean up these on the inside because they're sort of like almost, I don't know if they're meant to be frosted glass or what they're meant to be, but they're just trying to get rid of that film out of there. I'm not sure if there's much I can do about it. I've tried a couple of 3 or 4 times to get in there and get it to clean out, but maybe just how it is, I don't know. And then maybe just try and get the paint off the outside, a little bit more paint off the outside of them, but they'll clean up. They'll be as, you know, they're going to be as good as they're going to get. Not quite sure what else to do, you know. You can probably scrub and polish and clean in there as much as you like, but I don't know whether I might be able to get in there with one of these and see if it will clean it up. Just to try and get that white sort of film off there without it drying back out and staying there, if you know what I mean. I'll try the corner of this and just see. I think that's actually something I haven't tried in there. Just thinking with it, because it's a bit of a spongy sort of 3000 grit, it might be just enough to sort of clean it up and polish it, kind of, with my finger. Might work. It's only just a matter of giving it a wee bit of a rinse and then see what it looks like when it's dried. It might work. Might work. Wee rinse. Let it dry and see what it looks like. This. Might work. Well, we won't touch that one just in case. We'll just see. Give that a wee while and just let it dry and see if it just sort of stays that sort of cleanish frosted look instead of the white gungy sort of look in there, you know, from 90 odd years of gunge. Gunge and dirt, but hey, I think we're doing alright. That's come up pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. It's not quite as shiny as this. I struggle to get it up, but you know, one side to the other, again, you're not going to see. That must be just, it must be just a better, wouldn't say it's a better grade of aluminium, because it's probably, possibly not, but it probably is too, if you know what I mean. This wasn't never designed to be polished, where this probably was designed to be polished, if you know what I mean. But it's just what was handy, you know. You could always go get another piece and make another one, but we'll run with that. Becomes a problem, just make another one. I might have that. That might be right. Let that dry a little bit longer just to see. But I think that might have cleaned that up. 3,000 pads are fucking handy, I'll tell you that. I use them for all sorts of shit. But yeah. So we're getting there. A little bit more gunging around these edges, but we'll get that off eventually. But anyway, that'll do in the meantime. We'll come back to you a little later on. That's basically what I've been doing, just cleaning all the stuff, polishing, whatever. Just trying to get it to that next sort of level, ready to paint. Little detail jobs.
Welcome to Iron Outlaws. Stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss this.